Well, by this video, you should have seen me go through the process of creating a remix. And of course, we've gone through the various things that you need to make your remix, make your acapella, make your instrumental. And so, yeah, that's a good thing. However, as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to go ahead and interview another DJ in terms of how they go about remixing and, just a little bit about their thoughts on remixing and some other stuff. So right after the intro, we're going to go ahead and just get straight into the interview. And then after the end of everything, we'll see what happens next. Well, go on, youth. For the people, just introduce yourself and let's get into this interview so we can get to the real thing with people forward for say, the big boss remix. So.
All right. So for those who don't know me, I am SirPlazmatik, 2018 champion of Clash of the Hard Drives.
All right, cool. I guess we can also mention that, we became rivals during that exact year of the competition.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so this is a long time we know the youth, good youth and all these things. But we know it's end of the history of the friendship we know forward and hear about. So let me just ask, what's your experience in terms of remixing?
Starting out, you learn that you're not the best starting out. Yeah, you have some ideas, but it take a while. Yeah, you have to really passionate about it and willing to learn along the way so you can create some awesome remixes.
Yeah, most definitely true. Um, thing about it, I want to know though, like, or at least I'm curious now, because to be honest, I don't think I actually knew this before we started the interview or anything like that. What was your first remix, and like, probably what did you use to make it? You know?
All right, so my first remix would have been Speedometer Burn Up, and along with Speedometer Burn Up, it would have been the mark of Burn Up Road, both of which at the time I placed on the Hot Nigga Rhythm from
Oh,
Bobby Schmurda.
okay, interesting.
At the time, the only things that I knew about was virtual DJ, so you try to find a way to make it work.
Yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
always perfect, but who cares at the time?
At the time, yeah,
At the
yeah,
time.
yeah. So I know, I definitely know about that. 'Cause my first remix was actually Amelie on Rock City Rhythm. Alright, so I had used virtual to make that. Right, I actually should remake that. Now that I think about it, seeing that I have more skills, but you know, that was it for me. But looking outside of virtual, because we know that virtual is more of a DJ tool. What was your first DAW?
My first DAW in actually taking up remixing serious would have been Adobe Audition CS5, CS6, one out of the two.
Okay, okay, so that would have been around about 2015 there about.
About 20, late 2014, 2015.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I actually used to use that. I still use Adobe Audition, but that was around the time I started remixing too. What's your current DAW and what's your favorite DAW if you have one by chance though?
All right, so my current DAWs that I mainly use is Logic Pro X and Studio One 4. Favorite being Logic Pro X.
Okay, so why the switch from Audition to Logic Pro then?
For those who actually use Audition, you know that at times the user interface is not always friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And comparing it to its Logic Pro X, it's a clear cut win right there, bro. Logic Pro X, naturally. From your seat, yeah man, I like that.
Well, I mean, for me, Audition has been that. So you see me, right? I don't have the Mac power to say, oh, Logic Pro X, but I get your point, and I can agree that the user interface is not the friendliest, right? But once you utilize it a lot, you get the hang of it and thing. But Studio One 4 though, why?
All right. So I'm sure you're aware of the stretching ability in Audition
Yeah, time
to stretch
stretching.
vocals and
Yeah.
or instrumentals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would have to say that Studio One 4's ability to do that is somewhat better than Audition's.
Okay. I guess I might have to check that out then, cause I haven't used Studio One 4 to be honest. Well, Studio One, I think they're like version 5 or 6 now, so I might see if I can get a newer version if
Mhm.
anything, and check that out. But yeah, more on the remixing side of thing though. Like, what really got you into remixing, right? And like, what are some of your thoughts in terms of, well, your initial thoughts when you just started out, um, on remixing? What was your thinking like?
All right. So the thinking then, which I still hold now, is being able to surprise the crowd, provide them with something that they never expected, something that would keep the vibe going no matter what you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
The difference with then and now is that there's a lot more thought process and purpose behind the remixes I build now versus back then when I just started.
All right, cool. Thought process and purpose. Just elaborate a bit more on that. Like, I know that, especially in my case, even though back then I wasn't, what do you call it now, active on the scene in terms of DJing, I still had a thought process as to why, as to something, the purpose of the remix, right? So, what would you consider to be a thought process back then versus now,
All
in
right.
terms of.
So back then, there would have normally been a yearly a cappella pack release,
Mm-hmm.
which every DJ who I use virtual from them time that everybody have that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody have the same set of remixes. So it was really a race to see who could put what a cappella on which rhythm first.
Okay. Yeah.
Versus now we have the ability to build acapellas when we want, where we want. We have the ability to access instrumentals, any instrumental that we want. So we have a lot more scope in which to work, which gives us the ability to say, all right, let me see how this would fit on a way back when rhythm. For example, Far East rhythm, a skillibeng on a Far East rhythm. When we just started out, we would never think about stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
because we just want to stay current. So, as per my example, for me it was the Vibes Cartel and the Demarco and the Hot Nigga because I wanted it to stay relevant. It wasn't really about the creativity.
Right. Right. So now it's more about the creativity, I guess, based on what you just
No,
said a while ago.
yeah, now it's more about the creativity, which is the purpose behind why I build the remixes to express things that persons wouldn't normally hear where remixes are concerned.
Mm. Okay, then. Cool, cool, cool. So, in terms of creativity, what would have been your best remix, more or less?
My best remix more or less would have been, I would have to say it would have to be a remix that I'd done for a ladies segment in which I took this the Vibes Cartel 3 AM rhythm, and then I took samples of vocals from uh, wait well, I remember it. I'm going to tell you what. Close
A-
this.
And in the meantime, while we get a word from our sponsors, big up anybody who are watching video, like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, right? And what I'll go ahead and do, all being well, is that after the interview, you know, when you watch the remix and thing, I hope we can actually get the remix to share, if that's okay. So you can check the description for that. But after the interview, guys, you'll see the making of said remix. So you see me, y'all getting free stuff today on behalf of SirPlazmatik. If I did it.
All right. So yeah, man. So it's the 3 AM, the Vibes Cartel 3 AM rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
and then I took samples of the vocals from Vibes Cartel Ever Blessed, and I made kind of a background vocal. And then what I did was instead of using the straight instrumental, I had to do chops in 8 bar, 16 bars, and I had to find a way to make it flow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you have to incorporate the effects and all of that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then what I did was to give it that subtle vibe instead of going for one of those outlandish whining songs. I went
Mhm.
for Shani Moore's 3D instead.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, that sounds like a real combination for real. Now that I'm thinking about it, cause that's three songs in one. About that, no sir?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Wow. Zane. What was the instrumental? The 3 a.m. rhythm?
3 a.m. Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Well, that does sound like it would have make sense. All right. I'm sort of trying to picture it. Of course, you can't really picture a sound, right? Unless you're high, according to some people. But you see me. So that sounded more like after a couple years of experience, well, though, because for one, Chanel came out, I think like what 2017 thereabout. All right.
2017, 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been about 2 years experience already on the belt and things. So yeah. But
You
that's
know,
all.
in the meantime, you're still playing around, learning how to do edits, all of these things. The
Yeah, yeah.
easiest way to really get into doing it is trying to figure out how to make a radio edit without actually censoring the song.
Yeah, definitely.
Because a
Right.
lot a lot of these a lot of these clean edits, really and truly, people just cut the part that they don't want, where the expletive is, and just reverse it. So
Mm-hmm.
finding ways to work around that and actually building a clean version,
Mm-hmm.
you pick up tricks here and there and you work with it.
Okay, definitely. You know, there's going to be a video on that. I haven't actually recorded that video. But definitely people can look forward to that. And you know, I agree with you that throughout my experience of cleaning songs, especially, trust me, you learn so many tricks from just that alone. That if you carry remix after that, something probably wrong. Something probably wrong somewhere.
All right, one
Is
thing one thing that I can say that has heavily, influenced how I build remix or how I manipulate acapellas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for those who've been listening to dancehall for a very long time, would know that in the early 2000s, come up to around 2014, 2015,
No, so from the
producers
DJ
would
sample.
find ways to right. Producers would find ways to chop up acapellas so that clean versions would sound much better than the actual raw version, compared to
Yeah,
now where they literally just cut out the word and just leave it at that.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that concept helps when building remixes, because it helps you throw unexpected vocals in your acapella, and it just make it flow better.
I definitely agree with that. I've had even recently. I think I did a remix. No, not a remix. I did an edit for tricks and different type. That I really had to, you know, go production grade more or less. With remixing
Mm.
it. With editing it. What am I talking about remixing? Well, yeah, the topic is remixing, so yeah, there's that. But going back to remixes, then what would you consider, seeing that such a production grade level thing was your best? What would have been your worst?
Um, the worst would have to be the first remixes I've ever done, and I consider them my worst because of the feedback that I got when I actually played them out.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so it would have been the remixes, the Vibes Cartel and Demarco Don, and well, Demarco Don and Demarco on Hot Nigga.
Okay.
But because you're just getting into it, people are gonna catch on to the flow. It not really need to mesh well. Yeah, you want it mesh, but nobody no really business. And
Mm-hmm.
the feedback from that, uh, worst set of remixes ever, bro.
I can imagine. I can imagine. All right. So just to sort of more or less wrap up this conversation, so people can actually get to see you do a remix. What is probably, let's say, a top three advice to any remixer or anybody who's looking to get into remix? Um, give three things that you would suggest to them or recommend to them in terms of approaching remixes or even just doing a remix in general?
All right. So the first thing I would suggest is listen to a wide variety of music. If you only listen to one or two genres, then you only have to limit yourself to being creative from those one and two genres. spend time on your remix. Don't rush it. If you really want to build a quality remix, spend time on it. It might be a day, 2 days, 3 days, probably a week in some cases. But the more you listen to it and the more you think about it, the more ideas will flow.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is, what would be a third one? Get feedback from people who actually know music. Get feedback. Trust me, a lot of these persons put remixes out, and you understand that you want to get your view of music across, but get feedback from people who not gonna tell you no foolishness. So if them listen to it and them hear a mistake here or there, them willing to point it out to you. Don't just put it out like that. Get people who actually know the fundamentals of music, give it a listen and ask them what do they think would make it better if you're just starting out. Or even in a case like me, there are some cases where I'm building a remix and I send NASAAL a sample and say, yo, what do you think about this? Or you think it can be better? So get feedback from people.
Mm-hmm. Well, that definitely that first point especially sound like you've been watching my videos. By the way, just to give trouble, have you been watching the series?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Most
okay.
naturally, fam.
Okay, cool.
After I watch them video then. And as natural, we send them out to the people who will know say, I try take up the remixing thing. And at the end of the day, music are for everybody because no one man can benefit from the entire industry himself.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can benefit from it. So everybody can learn.
Yeah, real talk, that real talk. You see me. But anyways, Plaz, first of all, once again, thanks for taking the opportunity to talk about some remixes. I'm definitely looking forward to the remix that you're going to make. I know say we are gonna find something and we're gonna really have to sit down and probably break it down afterwards, if anything. But you see me, definitely looking
Yeah,
for.
man. Now it's a 40, bro.
Yeah. Once again, people, thank you for watching the video. We're going to have the remix right after this, but I just reminding you, you can go ahead and check the description for the remix. All right, it will be in the description. As I said a while ago. Like this video, especially if you like the conversation. We're going to have more guests on, and yeah. Let's just get to the remix right now.
Alright, so I know that video sort of wrapped up as if to suggest that, you guys are going to actually get the remix right after the interview. Unfortunately, technology, gives its problems. Of course, as you probably know by following me on Instagram, that I even had some technical issues trying to get the video before this or after this, depending on when I actually got the video done to be recorded and edited for upload. So, unfortunately, the remix is going to have to be delayed. All being well, it should be coming up in the next week. So if you're definitely interested in seeing his perspective of remixing and how he go about doing his remixes, then do the right thing. Hit the subscribe button. You can like this video if you actually enjoyed the interview and would like to see more content like this. And of course, share the content with other persons. It's quite important. It helps the channel out. It helps to build a network of people who are interested in remixing, and there's that. So for now, I guess next week we're gonna go ahead and create another remix and probably look at a little more details in terms of probably like making an intro remix or something like that. I haven't decided yet. So stay subscribed and until the next people.